Thank you everyone for joining. This is our first virtual workshop for the conference, so it's lovely to see you all here. And we have Talia and her mum here, and they're going to be talking on sort of the ophthalmology side with benefits and apps and the Alexa and all that sort of thing. So I'll let you take the floor.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Tracy. Morning, everyone. I'm Talia, the Eye Clinic Liaison Officer for the QE Hospital. I've got my mum, prefers to be called Dee, so she's next to myself. What we are going to do is, my mum's actually, she'll tell you herself, but my mum's registered blind with a different condition. So we're not going to do anything from a presentation point of view to like share the screen or show anything specific, because I wasn't too sure on other people's level of vision. But if there is anything afterwards that anyone was particularly interested in, and as Tracy says, she's recording it, I'm more than happy to send anything via email, the write-up, or if there was something specific that we mentioned and you wanted more info, we can send that out, not a problem. So the role of, just to overview, the role of an Eye Clinic Liaison Officer, some are known as sight loss advisors in hospitals. It is an important and vital role to have in an eye department for patients, and you're kind of the go-between the patient as well as the consultant. So sometimes medically, there's nothing more a consultant can do. And other times they can carry on doing some kind of treatment for you, but in between you may need additional support and services. So an Eye Clinic Liaison Officer can provide emotional support, information, advice and guidance to patients with sight loss, maybe newly diagnosed with their sight or ongoing sight condition. So within my role, I can explain the process of registration. That's anything from the certificate of visual impairment. Some may be registered as partially sighted, some may be registered as severely sight impaired or blind. The benefits that come with registration, which I'll go on to in a short while, but it's what you can be entitled to for your level of registration. Now, it's not always you may qualify for it. It depends, like, just to use an example now before I go back onto it, maybe PIP, what used to be DLA, Disability Living Allowance, Personal Independent Payment. Now, you may meet that criteria for your level of registration, however, it is putting in an application, and then if they approve it, is when you meet, be given whether it's the care part or the mobility or both components. But aside of that, there could be socialising events that you may want to attend, not knowing what's going on in your area. And then also housing, whether it's adaptations needed within the home. So an ECLO will support in many ways as they can within the eye department. What I can't do with inside, obviously, the hospital, I'll refer to outside organisations and work with other organisations. That way, if they need to put in any referrals, if I can't do the home assessment because I'm hospital based, the council may be able to do the applications and come and do a home assessment with you. We've also got the low vision side to it. So whether it's magnifiers, assisted technology, we can provide all information on that. Based at the QE, I support obviously the Wolfram Clinic. There's also other rare disease clinics that I'm involved in, and I've been there for based there for 5 years now in my role. I don't just support patients within the Birmingham area. At the QE, we see patients from all locations of the UK. So don't feel if you do live outside of the criteria, you can't get my support. If I can't find it local to you, there's national charities out there that I can always seek and network with to support you where it's needed. So that is an overview of an Eye Clinic Liaison Officer. If I go into the benefits of registration and cover that briefly, and then the tech will flow when I go on to that into bringing my mum into it. So let me just find my notes, do apologise. From the benefit side, there's a fantastic booklet out there, which again, I've got electronic and I've got in paper format. It's called Benefits, Concessions and Registration. That's up to date now this year of everything that you can be entitled to for your level of registration. Now, some people may have all benefits in place, but there's always one benefit that changes, or one person that may have been registered for many years and never known they can be entitled to something different. So the three main things that you get for severely sight impaired registration that you don't qualify for partial registration is the blind person's tax allowance. Now, that's in place that if you are employed, you can earn that extra little bit more than somebody that doesn't have a visual impairment. The other thing that's big at the moment because of the changes is the half-price TV licence. Now, a lot of people now at the moment are trying to obtain their certificate from years ago because of the changes, or if not, they could have been registered years ago. Now they want to be to obtain the registration. So with the half-price TV licence, and I must stress this, although it states on there to get a copy of your registration, whether it was a BD8 back then or a CVI, you are only entitled to half-price TV licence if you're registered severely sight impaired or blind. There's nothing in place for sight impaired, unfortunately, or partially sighted, as they used to call it. And even if you asked for the consultant to do you a letter, I do understand people's level of registration at sight impaired can be difficult to see the TV. However, it is just a stress, only severely sight impaired that you qualify for the half-price TV licence. And the other one is the blue badge. So any drivers within the family that can take you places, the blue badge is there for severely sight impaired. If you are registered sight impaired, I always tell my patients, and you feel you require a blue badge, you need to go in on the other medical conditions. At sight impaired, do not use that to apply for a blue badge because it will be dismissed. It's only for severely sight impaired. There is also home warmth. That's quite new. I say new-ish. Not many people are aware of it, and others are. Home warmth is £140 discount from your gas and electricity provider. Now, I've not known yet one that doesn't do it. It's down to yourselves to inform your gas and electricity provider with the level of registration. And that's for both now. So the ones I'm moving on to is for sight impaired and severely sight impaired registration. You just inform that you've got an individual living in the household that's registered either partially sighted or severely sight impaired, and you've been told about the home warmth. If they honour it under your services of whether it's British Gas, then what they can do is either, if you're on a direct payment, they will honour the discount onto the directed payment, so it's tweaked for you, or if you're on a meter, they will then credit your meter £140. You do not need to top it up until you've spent that money. So whether it takes you 4 months to use it. Now, with that, obviously with visual impairment, a lot of people have to keep the lighting on a lot, and other things may be that if you're diabetic related, you've got to keep the heating on a lot. So that's something new that a lot of individuals aren't aware of that I wanted to just explain to you. The other things are like free postage, articles for the blind, free NHS examination. Now that isn't an actual cost towards anything like the prescription of glasses, where you're entitled to the NHS examination. It is just the test itself if you was in a high street optician. Some people ask if it can buy the frames or thin lenses. It is just for the examination itself. The rail card, that is at a cost, but you can get a disabled rail card that can help you travel with somebody at low cost. And then there's free bus pass with your areas. There's also a cinema pass, sorry. The cinema pass, again, is at a cost, and that's to get discount for the individual that's going along with you. And there is so many films out there in audio description. I know with the current pandemic, we're quite limited, obviously, on going out, but if it was something that you used to enjoy socialising, I just wanted to make you aware of that. You're also, with level of registration, entitled to obviously any protection under the Equality Act and any assessments by the council, which I did briefly mention in the introduction. So things like if the lighting's not appropriate in the home, you've then got adaptations if you were struggling getting up and down the stairs. However, we can keep you as independent as you want to be. The assessments are there for you. Disability living allowance, PIP, attendance allowance, it all goes on the different ages. That's an extra income that isn't, the DLA and the PIP isn't means tested. And they're there for yourselves if you need any extra, whether it's care side within the home, whether it's mobility, getting out and about. So carers allowance can link onto that as well if you apply for PIP or DLA and then somebody's providing a lot of care for you. As long as they don't earn over £122 a week, carers allowance is available. If you're not working, there's employment support allowance. Now, if you were previously on that, that's remaining. However, it has come over to universal credits. So if you in work and for any reason you came out of work and you applied for the benefit, it wouldn't be ESA anymore, it would now be universal credit. For people over the age related of universal credit, there's pension credit out there that you can get towards when you are retired, or again, age related, depending, the pension credit is there as an extra benefit. Some councils offer a council tax reduction. It's all down to the individual council, but sometimes it's an extra saving. And housing benefit, if you don't own your own home and you are, whether it's a housing association, sheltered accommodation, there is housing benefit available. So that's briefly on the registration, and obviously myself as an Echelon Ways we support and advise you. I'm now just going to move on to grants, because I know that was one thing as well that Jodie had asked me to cover. So sometimes we're not always the richest person, and we're not certainly the poorest people, but we need that kind of help at times to get by or get additional things that we can't always get, whether it's out of PIP if we do get it, or sometimes, you know, just not having the funds there. Now there's a couple, I've got a whole sheet on these and there's more, but I've just picked the main ones for you. So we've got the Florence Nightingale Trust. They provide grants and they accept applications from people of all ages in poor health or are disabled and require medical items or services to improve quality of life. They can consider such as medical items, computer, specialist software, sensory equipment and communication aids, which I thought would be appropriate for mentioning that with the different signs and symptoms through Wolfram, especially the eyesight. So where it provides software and specialist equipment that could help. There's Independence at Home. Now their applications are for long-term illness or disability. And again, they cover anything from specialist disability equipment, home adaptations, kitchen equipment. So if you are struggling making a hot drink safely, or you want talking microwave, talking scales, certain kitchen equipment, even just fridge, if you needed a fridge. There's beds and bedding and communication equipment. Now, they don't show on their website, Florence Nightingale or the Independence at Home, how much they will go up to. But normally the grants are around 500, 350 mark, depending on, I suppose, how much information you provide into showing evidence what you need in a supporting letter, why you're asking for the grant, really. Another one which I've previously used to help a client is Gardeners Trust for the Blind. And that one offer a maximum of £600, and that's a grant towards computer equipment or software again, education or training costs. So maybe you want to do something around your education and you can't, or it's additional to the education you're doing, or just training. And household items for people that are either registered sight impaired or severely sight impaired. So that one is actually based specifically for visual impairment. We've got the League of Helping Hand grants, and that's for all ages within illness or disability. That one's more household items, so you could be moving into your own place. It's a washing machine, fridge, cooker, or again, specialist equipment. Victor offer grants for visual impairment as well, but for under 29 years old, they've got an age on theirs. And they can do things like visual impairment aids. It could be equipment for CCTV monitors, laptops, or even braille readers. And they do holiday schemes as well. So it may be that if you don't attend one with them, you want to get away, and they fund towards a getaway break for you. And the final one on that, I do believe I've got, is the RNIB. Now, must live in the UK though for the RNIB one, and they provide up to £500 for any equipment if you're registered sight impaired or severely sight impaired. You must though with them receive a means tested benefit, so that could be income support, universal credit, employment support allowance, or housing benefit, to prove that you've been refused council funding. Technically, you don't have to prove it. You can just, if somebody done a supported letter for you, because we all know that councils are only limited to so much within their part. So you won't get that kind of equipment that you're looking for through the council anyway. It would be through putting the application in with RNIB. As long as you haven't had a grant in 3 years with them and you don't have savings above £6,000. So they're the criteria for the grants. The DLA and PIP, leading on to that, sorry, the RNIB, or contribution based, they're the ones that you can get the grant for. But ESA, if it's not the means tested one, then you won't be allowed to apply for the grants. But they can do things like magnifiers, talking watch, talking scales, again, software, maybe just a big button telephone or a talking phone. And as I said, that's £500 a maximum with them. So that covers the grants from the benefits. Before I hand over to my mum, I've got a few tech apps that I'm just going to explain about, and then mum's going to go into a couple more additional apps, and then obviously the main thing, Alexa. So Be Specular, many people might have heard of it. It's an app for visually impaired people, which is available on the smartphone, whether it's Android or iPhone. Now, using Be Specular can assist you in various ways, such as you can ask questions by text or voice, or even by sending a photo and receive a response in a timely manner. So sighted volunteers have signed up to be at the end of the text once you've subscribed to it. So, for example, you could take a photo of a black pair of shoes and ask the question, or text the question, are my shoes shiny? After a few minutes, you'll get a response either by text, or it could be a voice note. And it'll just say either, yes, your shoes are shiny, or no, they're not. And another example may be that if you're cooking in the kitchen, you can take a photo and say, how long do I need to cook this for if you can't read the instructions on the back? And then someone can get back to you and say, you need to cook it for 5 minutes, or you need to add this. You can ask family members or friends to download the app. It's free. You can be an assistant yourself to other people that want to use it. It's found in the App Store. You just need to register before using it. And it is similar to an app that you may have heard of called Be My Eyes. There's other apps out there. Another one that I use and I'm always explaining to patients, it's got really good different items on there, is Seeing AI, or the Android, that's for iPhone, the Android version's Enhanced Vision. Now that speaks text as soon as it appears, and it does it all through the camera. And it'll provide audio guidance of documents, so you can capture them. So if you were holding it over a letter that's just came through using the camera, it would then either read it out to you going from left to right, or you can just screenshot it and then press play, and it will read it all to you, so you haven't got to keep moving it. It can also do things like scan barcodes. So it's helpful for some people with shopping. If you were in a supermarket and you was in the freezer section and you were looking for French fries, let's just say, the chips are obviously all together, you could pick up a bag of chips, obviously, scan the barcode, and it might tell you that this is McCain's oven chips. You know that's not the one. You pick up the packet next to it, scan that, you say McCain's French fries. Oh yeah, that's the one I want. It's really in depth and detail. So before, I've demonstrated with a bottle of water, it's told me that it's a sports cap, it's told me it's 1 litre. So if I wanted a screw top, I would have known that's the sports cap. So it is a really detailed app. And not just about that, some people might not want to be offended, but if you was holding it up, you had somebody in front of you, it can identify people. It might tell you maybe you're 20 years older or 20 years younger, so that's why I said don't be offended. But it would pick up, you know, female, blonde hair, you know, male, brown hair. So depending on what your description is or who was in front of you. Surroundings, it can tell you what's around you. So if you are somewhere that you're not too sure, it may tell you that there's a tree in the background. And because of it called Seeing AI, it's obviously seeing the artificial intelligence for you. It can pick up things like emails, social media, you can subscribe it to. So that's something to share. In the current situation we're in at the moment, one I wanted to mention is Good Sam. I don't know if anybody's using it or heard of it. Good Sam's a volunteering app which is provided part through the NHS as well as the Red Cross. And that's a volunteering service, and it can be anything from telephone befriending to collecting or delivering food for you, prescriptions or medication, and even transporting patients to appointments. They're all DBS checked, the people that sign up to it. Some are even either NHS volunteers themselves. And that's good while we're in, you know, depending on where everybody's living. If you're in current lockdown or pandemic and you can't get out, haven't got family being able to see you, Good Sam's really good to use. I've got patients that we've subscribed up to it to get them that support. The final one for myself is an app called Remind Me Reminders. And that's there if you're taking any medication or treatment at a current time, you're not too sure to remember when to take it. You can set that into the app and it can alert you every, whether it's 20 minutes, every hour. And it just helps you keep on track of when you're required to take some medicine or even appointments, as I say, treatment. So they're the main ones I wanted to cover. I'm going to hand you over to my mum, who's Dee, and a tech whiz better than myself, and she's going to obviously lead you on some more information.
Okay,
so thank you.
then. Okay, right. Just get my notes. Okay, is that fine? Right. Okay, so here we go. So just to say hello everyone, and my name is Dee Dewhurst, and very proud to be Talia's mum. I have a guide dog called Sid, and I also have sight loss, and my number one interest is portable technology, and I absolutely love using smartphones, tablets, keyboards, accessories, gadgets, Google and Alexa. So this morning we have some information to share with you about some useful and popular apps and recommendations, and also hope to give you a better idea of what Alexa can do. I'm going to begin with a few apps. So let's start with ID Pro. That is spelled EYE hyphen capital D Pro. Now, ID Pro is an app available both on Android and iOS that helps people with sight loss to explore places around them. It also has a Where Am I feature. So if you're not sure where you are, or you've got off the bus at the wrong stop, or been dropped off in the wrong place, it will give you a very accurate description. So if you need someone to pick you up or call a taxi, you simply tap on the top right square that says Where Am I, and it will give you an exact location for you to pass on to whoever you need to let know where you are. It can also read text. So if you have a letter or something that you need read to you quite urgently and you don't have anyone with you, you just hold your phone over the letter or a tablet, as long as it's got a camera on it. You hold it over the letter, tap the screen, it will take a picture, or rather it will scan it, and it will read it back to you. It's something that I have found quite useful. It also has nearby places listed, so that if there's somewhere you regularly visit, it will actually save that as a favourite, which you can use again and inform you excuse me, of your nearby surroundings. By using the camera, it can also describe the object in an image and describe logos, for instance. Now, it's an American app, and there's a new feature in our current situation called COVID-19 News. Now, this is the latest American updates, I'm afraid. So that's possibly just one of the features that you may not need to use. Now, when you're using GPS on any apps or features, you will need to have your mobile data on, and I think I do repeat that just to make you aware of that. Okay. Also, you will need to have your speech switched on in the accessibility settings in order to have the app read any text back to you. This app is available, excuse me, can I have a bit of water? That's all right, sorry, I've got a bit dry. The app is available as a free version, and a pro version or premium version is available for a small charge. And I will say that because this started as an Android app, it is fairly a minimal charge. I'd just like to point out that the premium version is the one which you will be able to read letters and take pictures. Unfortunately, the normal version just gives you the very basic features. Google Translate. Google Translate is a complementary service which was developed in 2006. It translates many forms of text and media, such as words, phrases, and web pages, between English and over 100 other languages. I often use this translator while I'm looking at reviews on Amazon, or if a web page is multilingual. It can also be useful if you are trying to learn a language, and it's just a one-touch feature, and it will then read it straight back to you. Please just bear with me while I have a little bit of water. Right, now going on to Google Maps. I am sure you've all heard of Google Maps. It's an app that can help with mobility and to plan the route or journey, which you can also save and use again. It can also show the place that you'd like to visit by picture, satellite, and even in 3D. You can select your mode of transport. So, excuse me, you can use Google Maps if you are traveling by bus, car, bicycle, or walking on foot. If you add your home address in Google Maps and save it as home, which is actually its own feature, you are out and about and you open Google Maps and ask it to search for home, or simply just put in a search yourself, it will just give you directions back to your home address from wherever you may be in the UK, as long as you have, of course, set that address and saved it. Lazarillo. Lazarillo is an Android and iOS app. It's another app that was designed to help people with sight loss and mobility, and can also help you to identify streets and places when you're out and about. The app is free, and like most apps that you use when you are out, it does require mobile data. It will tell you the names of streets and places as you pass them, and very good for helping you reach your destination. So if I knew that I needed to get off the bus at High Street and the road before it is Church Street, it would say something like, on your left in 10 kilometres is Church Street. So I would know I need to get up to get off the bus at the next stop. UK Bus Checker. UK Bus Checker is a best-selling app for all that brings live countdowns to your mobile or smartwatch. It's an app used by sighted people also, but it's one that I find really useful. You can get instant, up-to-date arrival information for each bus of the UK's 300,000 bus stops. It gives live times, smart journey planning, and detailed route maps for all of the UK. The app is free, but there is a premium version at £4.99, which also supports bus, train, tram, underground, ferry, and more. It has you covered to get from A to B with ease, no matter where you are in the UK. So even if you are only using public transport with somebody assisting you, you can also give them the information or get them to download the app too. And I would definitely recommend that you use that one. Now, although not everyone uses online banking, it's very good to know that most banks make it quite accessible for those with disabilities to access their bank accounts online. So I'm sure most banks on our high street are very helpful in this way, and especially in our current situation. But I would just like to recommend, from my personal experience, Barclays Bank, who are not only have very good customer care, but also have extremely good products to help those with sight loss. Items such as a large stylus to use with your phone or tablet, templates to help you sign a cheque or work out paper money, And if you find it difficult to sign your name, they can even provide you with a stamp. So they may be helpful. So that may be helpful information for someone in the future. Okay, so now we turn to Alexa. You will know that Amazon Alexa is an AI, which stands for Artificial Intelligence, or your artificial assistant, and usually known as Alexa. If you or someone has helped you set up your Alexa, you will know there is an app that you must download to your phone from the App Store, which is where you can also control Alexa from. This app is also just called Alexa. Once you have done this, you'll be able to download skills from the app, which will give you results to the questions and tasks that you would like Alexa to help you with. You can also send feedback on the app to let her know how she's doing and to check on Alexa's performance. I'm now going to tell you a little more about what Alexa can do, and sometimes the trouble we may have when she does not quite understand what you're asking. If there are any questions you would like to ask about this, as we've said, you will have chance at the end of the session. So, what can we do and say to Alexa? Alexa is capable of voice interaction. She can play your favourite music. She can help you make a shopping list or create a list of things to do. Sorry, that should be things I need to do today. You can also ask her, oh, sorry, can you hear Talia's dog? She's having a little run around. You can also ask her to set an alarm, stream podcasts, or play audiobooks. Alexa can provide weather and traffic reports, give sports and other real-time information, such as the news. You can also play games and download skills to enable you to play quizzes and enjoy music or song trivia games. You can also ask Alexa, what games do you have? Or what music can I listen to? You can also now ask her to add an event to your calendar, but you do need to have your calendar linked to Alexa via the Alexa app on your phone. That's if you use a calendar. You can also ask Alexa, what time is it? What is the weather doing today? And if you might need an umbrella. You can find out what is the animal of the day and have a bit of fun. And ask how long it takes to boil an egg. You can ask her to set a 40-minute cake timer, or say, Alexa, find me a chicken recipe. You can have a little fun again and ask her what sound does a hamster make, or Alexa, play some nature sounds. And you can also ask Alexa to tell you a joke. You can ask her to turn the volume up, or turn the volume to 5, or turn the volume down. You can also make free calls to other friends that also have Alexa. But you may need assistance to do this, as it needs to be set up in the Alexa app on your phone. You can also connect Alexa to your EE account or Vodafone account, but please be aware that any calls that you make this way will come out of your allowed minutes or your plan. Alexa can control several smart devices using itself as a home automation system. So you can say, Alexa, turn on the lights or dim the lights. You can ask her to put the kettle on or turn the temperature up or down. To do these sorts of commands, you do have to purchase smart switches, plugs or devices which connect to Alexa and can help make your life much easier. Did you know that Alexa can guard your home by downloading the skill Guard Dog, where the sound of a barking dog will play while you're out? When it comes to the end of the day, you may want to ask her to play sleepy stories to help you drift off to sleep. Now, Did you know that Alexa could sing? Try asking Alexa to sing a duet with Ed Sheeran, or ask Alexa, sing digital intelligence, or even a Christmas song. Would you believe Alexa can sing over 168 different songs and in different languages? So I think we have plenty of tasks you can try out and ask Alexa over the next few weeks. Now, I believe that we're going to be actually demonstrating Alexa in the next session, and we should be able to show how some of the tasks work. We may even have Alexa say, I cannot help you with that, or she may not answer at all. So why does this happen? Well, I now have a few suggestions that you can check if you feel Alexa may not be working as well as she usually would. Firstly, if you do not seem to get any response at all, make sure Alexa is powered on and everything is plugged in correctly. Check that you are connected to the internet, and you may need someone to help you check your internet line is active. Check that Alexa is not muted, as there is a mic button at the top which you just push, and this could have been done accidentally, or you may have muted Alexa and forgotten to unmute. If you are just having problems with Alexa not answering your question, or she doesn't know how to perform a task for you, you can try the following. Try to ask the question slightly differently and as natural and clear as you can. Rephrase your question or make it more specific. Try saying, did you hear me? It may also be that you do not have the skill set up and may need to go to the Alexa app and download it. Finally, if you have tried most of the solutions I have just mentioned and you're still having problems, just try unplugging Alexa, leave it for 2 or 3 minutes, and then plug it back in till she's reset herself. I hope you found some of this information helpful. And remember that Alexa is able to do new things all the time, and every month you can receive an email from Amazon or just search on Google, what can Alexa do now? Thank you all for listening for today's workshop, and I do believe we're now going straight on to questions.
Thank you very much. So we have a few minutes left for anyone that might have any questions. So if you'd like to raise your hand, and we'll try and get them answered for you. Any questions? No. Oh, Dawn, yes. I'll just need to unmute you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, it's really going back to what Talia was saying about all the different sort of grants and things and adaptations. Are they all means tested, or?
Some can be, which I did explain the ones that was, but I'm more than happy to send it over in an email through Tracy.
Yeah, right.
It all depends, obviously, who you're applying to, which ones are means tested. Every charity or organisation's different on what they'll accept.
Yeah, I mean, sort of adaptations to the home, sort of like if you needed a light switch somewhere else or whatever. I mean, is there sort of certain people that you would apply to for that, or is it any of the ones really that I know? I've made a note of which ones did different things, but or would that be something you do through sort of like council, or?
So it depends on obviously the level of the light switch itself and how much work needs to be done, but it either can be flagged up with the council through like an OT assessment, and if they can do it, they obviously will put contractors in to do that. But if not, if it was more, let's say you were going down the route of this Alexa and it was more specialist equipment, then it may be that you want to put the grant in for it, so you know, through a charity, and then you've got that linked then to the Alexa. It depends what route you want to seek really.
Right.
But council or grants can do either.
Okay, great, thank you.
Wonderful. Anyone else?
Sorry, just one
yes,
question. You were talking about some different apps, and I didn't quite catch the name of one of them. which I think was for the iPhone. Was it CNI?
Seeing AI. It's the word seeing and then capital A, capital I.
Right. That's lovely, thank you. I didn't quite catch it.
That's one of the perks of recording it, so you can always watch it back. Wonderful. Anyone else? No.
I like it when there's no questions. We must have covered it to a good degree.
That is really good. And just so for everyone that's here, just so you know, we have got Dee coming back and doing a webinar for us on the 2nd of October. That's right, isn't it? That's what we've got, for an hour.
Yep.
And then Talia and Georgina from Campsite are going to do a benefits webinar for us on the 9th of November. So we can cover a lot more detail on things then. So you can start thinking perhaps of any questions or things that you might like demonstrated with the Alexa, or any benefits questions then. So if we haven't got any other questions.
I just wanted to add in Mum's bit where she said about in the next session, I don't want anybody on here to think that it's the next session and you're going to miss out on demos. What Mum meant is what Tracy's just said. The next session on the 2nd of October is when the demonstrations, we've kept it as an overview today. So don't feel you're missing out on the next workshop. We're going to be doing more. It's exactly the same, I promise.
Lovely. Well, on that note, we've come to the end of this workshop session. So I'd like to thank Talia and Dee for taking part in leading workshop 1, and thank you all